This one is, I love this paper. This is the PINKFRESH Studio Delightful Chasing Beauty paper. I'm pretty sure that's what this one is. And I love it. It's so gorgeous. I love these colours. I know I like bright colours as well, but every so often I love chucking in a nice muted one, and PINKFRESH Studios really has my back with that at the moment. They've got all the colours that I love. The yellows, the aquas, the purples, the pinks. There's Jen saying hi. Okay, so I joined. Now, something I'm getting used to doing, if you want to use more than, one or two photos on a page, try doing this. Try doing what I did there and glue them. It's not glued. They're taped together. Stick them together. Yeah, let's word it like that. We'll stick them together. And that way you can move it all around in one piece, right? Now, I don't know why I just cut that in half, in a big cross like I did, but I was thinking about just cut out the centerpiece, and I just traced around the outside edge, and then I'm just cutting out the centerpiece because I don't want the middle to be white. I know I usually have a great big white chunk in the middle, but then I thought, you know what, I actually want to, this is the very first idea that I had, which was to fussy cut and create a border with these leaves, right? And then I thought, well, if I put these in the middle, these photos in the center, then what am I going to do? So I thought I'd trim it out like that, and then I went, nah, I definitely wanted to fussy cut the edges. Now, what I find easier, if you want to do something along these lines with whatever papers you have in your stash, it may be the PINKFRESH Studio ones, it may not be. If you want to do this, it's easier when you're cutting on top like this, it folds the paper under. When you're wanting to cut, see how I've got my hand underneath it, and then sometimes I'm on top, sometimes I'm underneath. So that's the difference. So underneath when you're cutting sort of forward, if that makes sense, but then when you've got to cut out to the side, bring your hand over the top. That is the easiest way I've found to be able to fussy cut and not bend all your papers and not accidentally cut too far. Now, I have to be honest, the Tim Holtz mini snips makes this job so much easier. I've done this for years and years and years, just using a craft knife, and you get good, you get good results, but you slip. You cut things you don't really want to cut. I mean, that goes without saying, and it can still happen doing it this way, but I think you minimize your chance of it happening if you're using scissors. Now, the Tim Holtz mini snips, they actually have a slight perforation to them. So as you're cutting, the perforation is helping you cut, but it's also helping you stop, if that makes sense. So you can just sort of go, as you're cutting, you can sort of feel it going by each little bit of the perforation. Perforation is not the right word. It's kind of got like teeth. You don't get a zigzag, but you do get a slightly different edge, and it is so much easier doing it that way. Now you can see what I've done. So I've trimmed out the center, and that's what I was after. Why? Because pull in this piece of paper. This one is the PINKFRESH Studio Happy Heart. Hang on a minute. I'm not sure which one it is. So I've used the PINKFRESH Studio Happy Heart Happy Blooms. I've used Happy Heart Sunny and Bright. And I've used PINKFRESH Studio Delight Chasing Beauty. They're the three that I've used. This is how I store my inks, by the way. My mini inks, my distress inks, not my oxides. Now, this is where I was showing you. I wasn't sure if I wanted to go around the border with Dusty Concord in the Distress ink, which is what I'm doing it in now, or if I wanted to use the Distress Oxide. The difference between the two: Distress ink is transparent, translucent, right? Whereas the Distress Oxide is creamy. It has a pigment ink combination with the dye ink, and it allows it to sit on top of the surface. So instead of getting sucked into the paper, it sits more on top of the surface, and you can build up your design. Whereas with Distress inks, you can build it up, but you see the color underneath coming through. So if you put, for example, if you put yellow and red, you're going to get an orange in between. But if you use the Distress Oxide and you use a yellow and a red, the red is going to sit on top of the yellow, and they're not going to combine together. You can blend them. Yes, you can. Absolutely. But it sits more on top because of the pigment ink. Now, I've cut that out. I've done my border. So the border, I just wanted to, something I'm getting very, very accustomed to is I like running a colour around the border instead of just automatically going straight for a black or a white. So that's why I use the Dusty Concord. Why did I pick that colour? Because I love the purples, and we're all, ironically, wearing a purple shade in these photos. This is just a place out here at Woodford called Grind and I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. Grind and Feast, I think it's called. It's a beautiful little spot. I've talked about it before. It is absolutely stunning. If you guys want to, anyone who lives local around me, if you want to go for an amazing meal, take a drive to Woodford. They're in a little shop. They're in a little shipping container. It is absolutely stunning the way they've got it set out, and it's on the main drag, and you can literally pop in there. You can grab your food to go, or you can sit at their tables. They even have like swings you can sit at. So the chairs themselves are swings, and there's a table in front of it. It's awesome. It's so good. You need to go and show them some love out there. Small business, and they are amazing. Their food is to die for. I love their acai bowls. Oh, so good. Geez, I could go one of them today. Wonder if I could convince my daughter to drive to Woodford for me to get me an acai bowl while I scrap to get more videos done. Yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath for that. You never know, she might, but I don't think she will. Okay, so FYI, Woodford is probably a 25-minute drive west of me. So anyway, but I digress. Okay, this is where I was struggling a little bit. You will see me play here with these words. I wanted to use these. These are the PINKFRESH Studio Happy Heart TITILE ephemera. That's what I'm using here. And I gotta say, I love these words, but they were just blending in too much. There wasn't enough. They have the white behind them. You can see me tapping my fingers. I like it, but it's not popping enough. Looking back at it, if I had have maybe rubbed some Dusty Concord on some white cardstock and mounted the words, they probably would have worked just as well. So you can do that if you are planning on doing something along these lines. Quite often, and the rule that I use is, see how you've got the white border around these letters, right? These words. It's awesome. It looks fantastic, and I love that. But sometimes you just need more of a contrast. So another way I could have used the Dusty Concord is I could have brought that in behind these words and fussy cut around the outside edge to give myself an offset like I normally would use my Cricut for. Now, a couple of you, if you're watching these, I've been asking questions about a brother scan and cut. Now, I assume if you had a brother scan and cut, you could probably put these pieces in there scan it, and then maybe do an offset size, and maybe it would cut it out for you. I don't know. I don't have one, but I assume that's what they're for. So that's their added selling feature, I suppose. So I've gone through and I've put some flowers down, and I really like how they're breaking it up in the center a little bit. So it's not just rectangle photos. I liked how the real life sat over in that, on that right hand side, and it was perfect because it was the perfect title for my page, and I decided to run with that. I'm not sold on that little wordy piece underneath the photo of Taylor and myself. These photos were actually taken when we went and celebrated Taylor's birthday this year, and we took my darling friend Dell with us, and we had a great morning. It was awesome, and it was something that I wanted to scrap. So I'm adding just a few of these little tiny foam stickers. These are the Stickmaster ones. I get these from Craft Online. I bought a stack of them. I've still got them. So I use them wherever I can to raise little bits up, like the sorry, can you hear that magpie? I feel so sorry for her. Her baby, unfortunately, so we have a magpie that comes to us every year, and she always brings her babies back here, and this year she brought her baby back, and unfortunately we had some nasty, I don't know if it was I think it was the Mickey birds, but they attacked baby Maggie even though she was up on the roof, and unfortunately she didn't make it. So now Mama comes back and she makes this. Magpies, if you're from overseas, magpies are, well, you might hear a lot of Australians whinging about them. I love my magpies, and the way they make this noise, and it's really hard to explain. I could do it, but that's just embarrassing. And they make this beautiful sound, and I absolutely love them. And that's what you can hear in the background, because she can hear me in here, and she's just sitting out the back on the shed, and she's making her good morning noises to me. So I just went over that with a sparkle brush just to give the flowers a little bit more depth. And whenever I use these, I like to use these, they're KAISERCRAFT clear dewdrops, and they come in different sizes. I got this pack, I got them online through Amazon AU, and they're just a massive bag of, well, it's not a massive bag, you can see it sitting next to me, but there's a lot in it. And they come in all different size clear dewdrops, and I love popping them in the center of flowers, and it just gives them a little bit of dimension but no extra color. I just use my art glitter glue to glue them down because that dries crystal clear, and I love them, and they don't go anywhere. So now what I'm doing, you know, I love me a little bit of Bob. I love to have Bob come in and do some line work for me. So this one is my white UNIBALL SIGNO BROARD pen. It's a pigment ink, so it goes over the top of color perfectly and stays white. If you run this pen over the top of an oxide or a distress ink, it will activate the ink and it will take the white away, if that makes sense. It will stain it a little bit, but over just cardstock like this, she stays bright white, mate, and I love it. So all I'm doing is just doing a squiggly line down each side of the leaves just to break it up so it doesn't look quite so flat watercolor. It gives it more, sorry, I'm actually messaging Taylor. She was down at the shops, so she was dropping Angela off for work, so she was messaging me saying, do you need anything? And I'm like, no, I just need to get this video done. So yeah, so if you want to see exactly how I did this up close, the photos will be over on my Facebook group. So have a look over there and you can see that there's nothing fancy about these lines. They're literally just squiggly zigglies, and they just break up the color a little bit, and it gives the leaf a little bit more definition, and I think it really helps it pop. So let me know if that's something that you would give a try, and we will go from there. What else can I tell you? I did, over real life, I did use my range of liquid pearls. I used Sunflower and Bahama Bay. They are the colours that pretty much were on the sheets. Anyway, I pretty much colour matched them to that. And it just gives a little bit of a sort of a puff paint look over the already, you're literally just tracing it. It's not difficult at all. And it just gives it a little bit of a pop for the title. And that's about it, guys. So I am just about finished, and I do come in and I do write a little bit later on, but here's the close-ups for you, and I hope you enjoyed that. As you can see, the little squiggly zigglies, there's nothing special about them. I'm literally very, very lightly going around and creating a bit more, sort of like the veins on the leaves, I suppose you'd call them. And that is about it. So I'm going to do my shameless plug. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, I would love to have you subscribe. I would love a like or a comment. Let me know how your Christmas is going. This video I think is going up on maybe Christmas. No, this one's Christmas Eve. So let me know if you've done all your elfing for the day, and if you're all ready for your exciting Christmas holiday. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I will chat to you again soon. Bye for now.